Hi, my name is Brett Light. This is my wife.
I'm Ilsa Light.
And we have an endless pool. And we understand that people want to see how the endless pool and all the thoughts and things that go into actually getting and putting it in. We've been through that process, so we'd like to share some of our knowledge with you. We actually have had this pool for 7 years?
Eight years.
8 years? Time flies. And so we want to take a little bit of that knowledge that we had and actually share it with you on that. So we wanted to take you on a tour of our pool, so why don't you just come on in and we'll give you a little tour.
For my 50th birthday, I went to Palm Springs with my sister, cousin, and a friend. And in the morning, the lazy river, they would let us older folks walk against the current. And I had always enjoyed running, but by that age and with the state of my knees, I wasn't able to run anymore. But that experience of being able to walk in the water against the current made me know this was an activity, a really good for you activity that I would be able to do for a very long time. So I came home and announced to my beloved that this was something we needed to start to think about. He did a lot of work trying to figure out what kind of pool is best, what kind of water system is best, because he's a swimmer and he wanted one that would also function.
So if you were going to get something, we were going to have something that's not just a running deep well treadmill, which is what you first thought we were going to get. And I said, no, if we're going to do this, let's get something with a pool so that I could swim in it as well.
Right. We originally assumed we would be building an addition and putting the pool in it and probably, have plants in a seating area, just put it out the back end of the house. We quickly realized that would be cost prohibitive. We wouldn't even be able to afford the addition, let alone the addition and a pool. So we started looking at places in our house that we could potentially put the pool.
So the first place we looked at was my workshop.
that didn't go very well. First, it was only 11 by 11, so it wouldn't have been big enough for any of the endless pool swim spas.
And then we looked at putting it just in the basement, but we didn't want to give up a lot of our living space that we had down there as well. So we ended up as putting it in our garage, because the garage never had a car in it anyway, so it just collected all of our stuff. So we just decided to take half of the bay of this 2-car garage and put it out here.
We knew that we would end up getting a 7 by 12 for it to be able to fit in one bay and still have room, because my husband keeps his bike in here. We still need storage space, we still need a beer refrigerator, we still need some of the basics. But what we were able to do was put a pool that's big enough to swim in, that has the treadmill. We built a stair unit at the end, and then up at the front, it's got all the electronics that were necessary to run the pool, except for, of course, the hydraulic motors.
Again, we just wanted to have a little bit of room on either side of the pool, so we could have gone a little bit longer, but then everything would have been cramped. So we decided on the 7 by 12. And then there was some thought about how that would be too small of a pool. I'm 6'2", and so when I stretch out and reach all the way up, that's an 8-foot reach for wingspan up. So we were thinking that would that be, and there was concern about would it be long enough, but it turns out it's plenty long. In the 8 years we've been here, I've maybe grazed my toe on the back thing twice. Not a problem at all. I even swim with fins on sometimes, and I never touch the back. So that's not a problem looking at size on that for any way. The area, the 7-foot wingspan on it is perfectly fine if you're in the middle, because this is only 6'2", so there's room on either side, even if I'm doing butterfly. So that's not a problem, or breaststroke is not a problem to go out that far on it. So the 7 by 12 is perfectly acceptable for what our needs are.
When we were trying to decide what type of pool we wanted, we actually went up to Acton, Pennsylvania, where Endless Pool is located, to test swim some of the pools. When we went up and worked with a super sales rep and got to meet some of the people up there and had a wonderful morning, they let us basically bounce from pool to pool to pool, try the different
propulsion units.
Propulsion units. Within half hour, we knew for sure that this was the type we wanted. We needed the Performance Series propulsion unit with the side channels.
And it doesn't have that recirculating water that kind of pulls your feet down and stuff that we found out with the Spa Series. Now the Spa Series could be great, but there was also the turbulence of the jets that were coming out that I didn't think that was as smooth of the current as I was looking for. Because this is in a garage, we had to do a couple of different things to actually put it all together. So as a garage, everybody knows, slopes from the front to the back so that all the stuff that's on your car drains out your garage rather than sit in there. So that meant that there's a slight slope into the pool. So what we had to do was I actually took some 4x4s, cut them down in a big triangle, and then coated those with rubber coping or sill plates on that, so that the metal from the pool would not be sitting against pressure-treated lumber. So now the pool is sitting perfectly level. Then we had to add a bunch of sand to the bottom to make the pool level on that, and then we went on from there. So that was just a little bit of a different thing that you may think about when you're putting it in a garage, a little slope on that. So
I don't know that we've mentioned, we did install it ourselves. Again, financially, it was a lot more reasonable for us to make that decision to do it ourselves. We are not electricians, we are not plumbers.
From the time that the pool was delivered to the time we actually had the initial water in the bottom of it was a week and a half, 2 weeks on that. And then it took another couple weeks for us to finish all the other stuff, to fill it all the way up. But it was not a hard install to do. We did have an electrician come out because that is a lot of electrical work that it's a 220 lines that you need to install, so they need to be put in the panel, so we let them do that. But all of the plumbing is just 1.5 inch standard household plumbing. So it's just pipes that you can put together. So if you can put 2 pipes and some goop together, you can do this.
We did have some strong fellows. Our kids were teenagers at that point, and between our teenagers and their friends, they helped us hold up some of the heavy metal pieces while we did some bolting, but there is nothing inherently difficult about it. This is Endless Pool Company edging. We got our own cladding just because it's for expense purposes. We did a lot of insulation in this space before we installed the pool so that we'd be able to use it year round. Here's a view of the pool from the side. You can see the back steps where they come up. There's a corner step going on to the back ledge. The corner step is good for kids or people who need a little more assistance to help get into the pool. Moving forward, there's the treadmill, the propulsion unit, and then we've got a TV set up that we can use so that I can watch baking shows while I'm on the treadmill, or my son can watch soccer. So it's a 54-inch deep pool that is sufficient to have us with the treadmill and still have chest deep water. This feels like a real swim. It feels like you're swimming in a pool without having the end. It feels like you're doing an open water swim.
I did a lot of training in this pool. I actually went through and trained for an Ironman triathlon in this pool. So most of my swimming was done right here in this pool. But I do have access to open water at a lake. And so this feels just like swimming in open water for a long distance. You can just get in here, set a pace on it, and go. And it's just nice and even current that's going through.
As far as uses for the pool, obviously he uses it for swimming. I do some swimming, mostly the treadmill. We also have, our son uses it for physical therapy. He has had a very serious health concern the last few years, and his physical therapist works with him in the pool to build his strength, to help rebuild his strength. Brett's coach, his Ironman coach, also, he trains in it himself sometimes when he can't get to a pool, or he has other people who he will bring over and work with on their swim strokes in our pool. We welcome the neighborhood kids to come and play in it. We've got an adorable little 4-year-old next door who comes to practice her swimming, and it's amazing the amount of water that ends up on the ceiling, but it's very good for, I think, her parents, for her to get some energy out. We enjoy it.
We've taught a couple kids how to swim in the pool. Just work them they can get into regular classes during the summer, but we're here all the time. So we taught some friends with kids how to swim in here. So that's always been fun.
When our kids were teenagers, they would, I've got a TV set up so I can watch shows or movies. They would watch movies and put floats in the pool and kind of float around and hang out with their friends. After working in the garden, if it's very hot, we've been known to bring a beer into the pool. It has a lot of utility besides just a swimming spot. We weren't sure that we didn't even know all that would happen, of course, but we're really pleased, and we continue to use it regularly. We were very concerned, of course, that we would put a hefty investment into this and love it for the first 6 months and stop using it. Instead, it's just, we found more and more things that we like to do.
So this pool right now is about 89 degrees because it's been a little warm. So it's not warm enough to really sit in for like a hot tub kind of pool, but it's a great temperature for swimming. Actually, I like it a little cooler when we're doing the exercise in it, so you don't end up sweating in it too much. But this is a nice temperature to swim in and really enjoy it. So if it's too cold, you want to get out. But for this one, for doing especially longer swims, that warmer temperature actually allows you to stay in there longer. This is the temperature control unit. And this actually runs, you set the temperature for the pool up and down right here, and this is just a display for the temperature that's on there. What we did is we actually got insulation, and we put that around in every bay of the pool except for like right here. And then we actually put 2 inches of insulation in the bays, and then we covered it with another 2 inches of insulation all the way around. So there's 4 inches of insulation all the way around the pool. We're in the Washington, D.C. area, so in the wintertime, it's not uncommon for it to be down in the teens to single digits to even below zero in the wintertime. And in the summertime, it's hot. It's 95 to 100 degrees and humid. So we actually leave the garage door open a little bit to actually help control the humidity that comes in, especially in the summertime. In the wintertime, it's really not a problem. We love the extra heat that comes with this. So we just wanted to show you a little bit about the mechanical portion of the pool. This is the main controlling unit that runs the pool. This is actually run off of a 220 line, and it controls all parts of the pool, the heater, the UV system, the pump, any other lights or accessories that you would get with the pool run off of this main unit right here. The way that works is pretty simple. The water comes in through a paper filter that's in the pool, comes down through, over to the pump, back up through the heater, back down through the UV system, and back out to the pool. These lines here are the hydraulic lines that run the propulsion units. We have one set of hydraulic lines for the swimming area and another set of hydraulic lines for the treadmill. Well, welcome to the bowels of our house. This is kind of our storage area and laundry room, and this is where we actually put the hydraulic units to run the motors on there. The pool is actually right up there through the garage on there, so we actually ran the hydraulic lines that I showed before are coming right down. They were just a little short, so I needed to get an extra line here to run it in there. Hey, girl. And so we have 2 hydraulic lines. One of them runs the propulsion unit, and the other one runs the treadmill. And so we also had to have, each one of these needs a 220 line in there. So we actually had to have 220 shutoff installed for code, and there's another 220 line with a shutoff service disconnect out in the garage, and that's for code as well. So these are the propulsion units, so there's no electricity in the pool. Everything that's running the pool is actually run off of these hydraulics here. So we actually put them down here for a couple reasons. First of all, for just the space that we had upstairs, but also for the noise level. These things aren't too loud, but they could make it a little uncomfortable if you were up there working out for quite a while. If there was somebody's bedroom wall right across the other side, you probably don't want to have that, especially if you're going to be swimming at 5 o'clock in the morning, which we do sometimes.
What we have for the cover is the evaporation cover that keeps too much water from evaporating. We do have to add water every so often. Fortunately, in the garage, we have a hose bib, so we just add water from the hose. For maintenance, it's very little maintenance. We're very fortunate. Having the pool inside means that you don't have to worry so much about the chemicals. The only regular maintenance we do is adding just regular household bleach, Clorox, every time we swim. So about 5 times a week, we're adding about 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of bleach, and that's enough to keep the water clean, sanitary.
Because we use city water, and because it doesn't have all the different hardness issues, and it's not a well water situation on that, basically the only thing we really check on a routine basis is the pH. To make sure that we have that. We just adjust the pH so that we're at the right level, and we also I check our free chlorine levels to make sure that we're still in that therapeutic range of the chlorine. And that's about it. We just do that, add water to it, and then just keep on swimming. These displays right here, which actually set up for either the speed of the propulsion unit or the speed of the treadmill. There are different dip switches that you can set in the back of this. So I have this one set up to be, whatever it's displaying is the speed per 100 meters. So if it's at a 130, it's 1 minute and 30 seconds per 100 meters. This one is set up for miles per hour. So the treadmill can be on from anywhere from 0 to like 4.5 miles per hour. Go, just a quick little swim, just to show that it's long enough. So off we go.
This is our son Sam. Sam has been recovering from recurring osteosarcoma and is doing great right now and is in the physical therapy stage. So what could be better than being able to walk with all his weight supported by the water? So his physical therapist has been working with him so that he can build his strength, rebuild his muscles using our pool. So hello, Sam.
Hi, how's it going? So, just gonna swing the leg out. So if I can get in, anyone can get it pretty much. So, you can see I'm the same size as my dad, 6'2", and I'm usually standing at the water. So these are the controls here. Is on, off, and slower and faster. This one controls the treadmill at the bottom, and this one controls the current. So as you can see, they're both used at the same time. So I just turn the treadmill on and use it. You can see over there, there's a speedometer, if you will. It goes up to 4 miles an hour, which is more than enough. I'm going to turn on the current here. It's a bit past me, so I'm going to just hold on to the car and slow it down. there we go. A nice pace. So this, one thing about this is that it has a half-hour shut-off. So if you don't change the speed of any for a half hour, it'll automatically shut off, which is plenty. So when I finish walking, all I gotta do is just step off. And I can use this seat back here to take a seat. And my legs are dangling off, so I can do leg stretches, do some more PT, just finish up. And once I'm done with that, sit up, sit on the side, kick my legs over, and I'm out.
All right, we are so glad we had this opportunity to share our pool with you. We are embarrassingly excited about it still after the 8 years, and have always been really proud to be part of the Endless Pool Demo Program. We understand this video is helpful because not everybody lives close to someone who has the pool, and so this way you can see what we usually show people when they come to our house, and we're able to show them in person. Hopefully this helps you get an idea of what Endless Pool is all about.
And this Endless Pool has done everything and more than we could have ever asked for. For us personally, for our family, as you saw, we couldn't have asked for a better investment in our health and in our future.
Thank you.